So, I've been thinking a lot about what I want to do in the future, and a lot of things have come to me, but the main thing that stuck was definitely being a mechanic, because I really like to work with my hands. And so the first artifact that I have here is this little clay figurine that I have made. And I know it doesn't look like much, but this little guy took me about 2 hours to make, and I just did it all by hand. No tools, no nothing, just with some clay. And I just really like to use my hands, and like as a mechanic I'd be using my hands a lot. And then I also have a lot of like attention to detail, so I took it from a photo from a movie and then transferred it to the clay as a 3D thing. So as a mechanic I'd also be doing a lot of detail, so I also have painted this little miniature here for just for fun. It's for a tabletop game, and I have painted it completely, and this took me about 2 months to do. And I just used, as well as I used my hands, I also painted the entire thing myself. And so I just really have a big attention to detail, and I like to take my time on certain projects. So the next artifact is a full metal katana that I made in my forging class. And so this is an actual full metal katana, made it all by hand, except for the blade. We used a machine to get it as long as it is. I also really like using machinery, especially like big presses and stuff like that. I also just enjoy working with my hands and with metal in general. And as a mechanic, you're usually just putting metal pieces together with bolts and screws and welding and that kind of thing. Next artifact is a modified Nerf gun that I just decided to do. So I have a 3S LiPo in here connected to a set of motors, and it's extremely loud and it hurts a little bit. I also enjoy doing wiring and like electrical stuff along with painting and forging. And I also just really like taking things apart, modifying it, and then putting it back together. And just kind of as a mechanic, you also have to do that. So for my next artifact, I have a comic book that I made for my science class. And I have a bunch of different calculations and stuff, and I enjoy putting math also into different things that I do. So if I need to measure out different things, I'll be like, oh, I need 3/4 of this and 2/4 of this, and then I can figure out what else I need. I have 2 more artifacts left. So this one here is a I didn't carve it, I cut it out with a bandsaw. It is a reindeer made of wood, Christmas decoration, and I used, most of this is all done by hand, the sanding and the carving. All the big chunks were done with machinery, so I really like to just cut things, make things out of wood, and you sometimes have to do custom parts when it comes to being a mechanic. And the final thing is this giant Lego set that I built. And this took me a while, and I had to pay attention to the instructions because I tried doing it just off the top of my head, and it didn't work. So when you're being a mechanic, you really need to listen to the instructions that are given, or it can go south. And so this entire set probably took me about 2 hours to build after I messed up the first time. And I just really like to pay attention to detail and figure out what the instructions mean and stuff like that. So this is my CLE project for my future. Thank you.